Yo, this is James Lights Out Tony, the one and only. You are tuning into Philly Fight World. You see me? BAM!
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Philly Fight World. As you always know, there's fight news, there's fight analysis, and then this is Philly Fight World. We're your hosts, Blake Anthony and DJ Sulu. And we got our guest here, Danny, the Cut Man. As you can see, the title in the bottom, the Cut Man's Corner. And today we're going to kind of pull back the curtain on a man who literally keeps the fight going. The blood when the blood starts flowing. He's the steady hands behind the wraps, the calm in the corner. Jake Paul's trusted cut man and hand wrap specialist, Danny Davis. From stopping cuts in high-stake fights to wrapping $1 million fists for one boxing, biggest disruptors, Danny got stories only a true fighter insider can tell. So let's just get into it. Fellas, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great,
Good,
man. I'm doing great, fellas. How y'all doing?
good,
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 good.
man. Good to see y'all. Good to see you. Good to have you,
Yeah.
Danny.
Oh, good, man. Great to be on here, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. So you've been busy lately, man. We just seen you this past weekend in the corner of Jake Paul. How was that experience?
Uh, this is my sixth fight with Jake. Actually, Jadion Love called me up. I like 6 fights ago. I was working with Fulton, Stephen Fulton. I was wrapping his hands in Japan, and we were just online together on Instagram, and I just asked him. I said, "Does Jake need a guy to, you know, some a hand guy, hands, somebody to wrap his hands, somebody to do his cuts." And it was just perfect time. He's like, "Look, I'm gonna ask him." So I sent him some pictures, and we've been rocking ever since.
That's what's up. That's good.
That's good. That's what's up, definitely. So I mean, like when you say pictures, like so
I
kind
had,
of like your that's kind of like your resume almost, right? Like you send them
yeah.
like what kind of work you do.
So I sent Jadion some pictures to show him of my hand wraps. Just some pictures who the guys I work with, like Bernard, Gabe Rosado, guys that I have worked with in the game. Uh, so he called me back. He said, he wanted to try you out. So he flew me out Texas, and my first fight with him was with Nate Diaz. So third and Larry Wade, they had just came on at that time. So it was like we all was just coming on doing that first fight together, and we've been together ever since. And I
Nice.
seen
So
the, I seen the, I seen the growth, man.
mm,
With this young man, I see the development, and not just saying it because I work with him. I'm a true boxing guy. I work with one of the Hall of Famers, and that's Bernard Hopkins. So I know boxing. I fought myself. So this guy's really, truly, and he works hard, man. He works hard. So, the people don't see what goes on inside. They only see the outside. So inside, he trains his ass off. He listens, and I looked at that because I happened to spend a camp with him under Mike Tyson. So he really like got my attention when I really saw for myself that how hard that this young man works.
That's good to hear, man. I respect that because, of course, coming into the game, he had that stigma on him. Like, okay, well, what is he doing here? A YouTuber that was
Yeah,
the go on him. The name that they put him, a YouTuber fighter.
yep.
But it's good to hear people in the game like yourself who have experience and every time I hear these people, including yourself, just run it down how hard he works in the gym and how serious he takes boxing. So that's good. That's good confirmation right there coming from you.
yeah, because I was talking to just quite a few people that spar with him, like the boxer, the Muslim boxer. He was just in camp with him, and you mess around with him if you want, cause he can crack, man. He
Mm,
he really can
Mm.
he really can punch. His his jab is like a right hand, you know. And then you add that right hand, with that jab. I mean, it's like he have a like a Ike Corte jab. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And you remember Ike, man? Ike Corte jab was like a right hand. So,
mm-hmm.
like I said, I'm just not talking just to be talking to let people hear what I want to hear. It's the facts, man. This guy really dedicate himself. Maybe yeah, it started off having fun, you know, having fun when he was, you know, doing them fights. But now I guess he had a taste of that loss. He just wanted to build. He said, "Listen, I got to get some boxing people around me. Not taking nothing away from his trainer that trained him before. What was his name? Ford. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
BJ, not taking anything from him. He, and the rest of the guys that was in his corner. Jake just felt like, listen, I just need some people that not going to just, quit on me. Not when I say I'm tired, they just say okay. These guys that surround him now, Third and Larry, them guys is they non-tolerance, man. They ain't taking
Mm,
no you. I'm tired. This is it. They be on his ass, and
mm,
and and he respect that. I remember a long time ago, Bernard told me. He said, "Listen, I want you to treat me like I'm a fighter. Yeah, I'm Bernard Hopkins, but you need to say something. You need to tell me, you know, like guys respect that, you know."
mm,
And and I started speaking, after he said that to me. I started being voiceful. So um he definitely, man, like I said, have a good support system around him right now. And that's why his confidence is getting more higher and higher as we go along in this game.
mm.
Definitely. What's that old thing? It gets better with time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of explained that. You kind of explained that. I was going to say, how was it different, with Jake Paul than other traditional fighters? You just pretty much talked about that, talking about a legend in Bernard Hopkins, and now you're talking about Jake Paul. And I like how you describe, to like the way you said the transformation of Jake. How's it gone? Where you said to him at first it seemed like it was just fun to him. Then he took the L, and then that every athlete has it. That clicks, or you turn it up another notch, and it looks like that. He's ranked now. Was it 14th or 15th now? It just seems like he's becoming a real competitor in this game, and kind of slowly, but not as probably as much as he'd like, to get rid of that stigma of just being a YouTuber and now being considered a legit boxer.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So he have a taste. He have that taste now,
Mm-hmm.
in his
Mm,
mouth, man. Ain't nothing like that taste. And then
Yep.
just having people, Gabe Rosado, man, who was in camp with him, and just getting that knowledge from him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's bringing good work, man. These guys be trying to tear his head off, and
Yep.
and one thing about this Jake, he's not scared. He's not scared, man. And that's why I tell people he ain't no scaredy cat. He ain't a white boy that's scared. You know what I mean?
mm,
He be around a lot of brothers, so what I mean? And then look at where he come from, man. He wasn't brought in with a silver spoon. Man, he come from the grind, man.
Yep.
Ohio, my folks live out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He come from the grind.
mhm,
I'm from Philly. Like he come from the grind. So uh, you know what I mean? Just like I said, just having the support system around him, man, his confidence is really elevating right now. And he feel good, man. And we keep him honest, man. And you have to be honest. You know what I mean? And just
mhm,
having the people around you not in it just because, but for the
mm,
cause.
Do
mm.
you, before the with the fight with Chavez and everything, you remember anything specifically he said before that fight, during that, or anything like memorable that you can remember leading up to that, or post fight or pre fight, anything coming up into that victory he
Just
got?
He just said, I'm gonna box the shit out of him. I'm gonna show these haters that I can box, and I can take a punch. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So and he showed that. I mean, he kind of felt, a little the last couple rounds, you know what I mean, his conditioning, but up until that point, he was shutting him out like 9 rounds, 8 rounds. So,
Mhm.
uh, like I said, he was like, I'm a box the shit out this guy, and he did. I mean, what you call it, could not do anything, even if he wanted to, because that jab was constantly in his face and on his body. So,
Mhm.
uh, and third, Theo Chambers, man, and Larry and Jadion Love is the mastermind, and he put all this together. Jadion Love. So shout out to him, man, who put
Mhm.
this team together, and
Mhm.
it's just evolving. It's coming together, man. We still got a lot of work to do, but
Mhm.
this team that we have, he got so much experience and so much knowledge, man. And he's really grateful, man. He know what he have, man. Jake know what he have around him, and he respect all of us, man. Don't nobody pacify him, man. We treat him like a fighter, not because he's Jake Paul.
Mhm.
You know what that
Right.
reminds me of when you said about hanging with the brothers and stuff. The first thing that clicked in my head, Danny, was Rocky, where Apollo took him to the trap with all the brothers in the gym. When he took him
Yeah.
to the lions down, he said, "You see that look at them? You see that look in their eyes, Rock? They hungry. You see that? They all want what you got. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to remember that, and you got to mix up. You got to mix up your game a little bit, get a rhythm and stuff. So that's the first
Yeah.
thing I thought about when you said about when Jake being around a lot of brothers and growing up now with a silver spoon in his mouth. We talk about Danny, like we've got people and we talk about stories and things like that, and that's what makes boxing great. And we're kind of getting back to that now because you're hearing these stories. Jake's got his own different story. Like you said, a kid from the mud, YouTuber, made a couple mil. Now got his own boxing camp, promotion company. Like he's got his own story to boxing, so it just adds to the elevation of boxing what's going on. When you talk about people in their camp and people around them, every time that I look on social media and I hear anything with Jake Paul, the first person to always respond is Amanda Serrano. You ever ran into her or see anything about that girl? Is like that's like his right hand man. Anytime anybody says anything negative about
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
him,
I
yeah.
I, I love Samantha, man. I just love cause I work with a lot of the female fighters.
Mm-hmm.
My first champ was Kaylee Reese. That was my
Reese, yep.
first
Mhm.
champ. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
worked,
Mhm.
and I worked with Ebony Bridges, Melissa. I work with a lot of women fighters because of Brian Cohen. I call him the Don King of women boxing. So I worked with him with a lot of his female fighters. I remember we did an all female fight in Indiana right before the COVID. So I worked with a lot of these women, and a lot of these women wasn't getting paid like that.
That part.
But
Mhm.
now, you got a guy, that really wasn't in a boxing game. He brought all this attention to these women
Mhm.
now, So kudos to Jake and Nakisa and for just putting these women. I mean, the women was on the mat, but just getting they just dues by putting money in their pocket, man. Money that women deserve, you
Mm-hmm.
know, to make. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you know what I mean. I love what he's doing. Like I said, and just bringing Bargon, Alicia on, man, and everybody want to be on the team. Even for real, I think Carissa want to be down with most viable.
Oh, I was gonna
Real
bring up that
quick.
name. I was gonna wait. I was gonna bring that
And
name. I
and
was
I
gonna wait.
and I had I had a chance to work with her with John. I worked with John David Jackson
Mhm.
with Ishay and Randall Belly. I worked with Don John with a couple of his
Mhm.
fighters. So yeah, man, I think she want to get down. You know what I mean? Truly speaking, because them girls, like I said, man, they deserve the pay they get now. They deserve it, man.
Mhm.
Because like I said, I
Man,
work with a lot of the women fighters, and they work hard, man. They fight and they fight their butt off. They train their butt off, just like the men do. So
yep.
why they can't make the money? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And for Jake, for a nobody that's as we say that's not a real boxer. You bring the light to the game.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Mhm.
these? Why these other promoters haven't done this?
They've
That's
done
been
it.
around
Yeah.
for so many years.
Yep.
Why they haven't put
Yeah.
money in these women pockets? So that
100%
alone,
correct.
that
Yep.
alone, that alone, man, just this like taking them to the top. What he's doing for women boxing, and I'm glad that on 11th, I'll be a part of that, man. I'm supposed to work some of the fights, so I like I said, man, I not saying because I work with them. I just speak facts. I don't speak what I want y'all to hear. I speak facts, man.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And this just facts, bro. That's all. This is facts, man. You know what I mean? So
No,
There
no,
you go.
yeah.
no doubt.
Uh,
Do you think Shields gets the credit that she deserves?
um, she gets the credit. She gets the credit, man. She Shields is who she is, man. She's the she's the dominant woman in boxing. You know what I mean? Uh,
Mhm.
do I think she talked too much? And I mean, yeah, I mean, because everybody, she got confidence, and she is who she is. But you know what I mean? Like I said, I worked with her before, and she's decent. I had no problem with her, and to the day I still don't. But
That's
I
good.
think she want to be on the other side. I do think that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? You
Why
see
not?
that movement
Yeah,
that Jake is doing with the women on,
yeah,
signed to
yeah,
MVP, and it's just like they're
yeah.
active and they're making money.
And they
So I
making
mean,
money. And I
so
think
that's what it comes down to.
it's a little jealousy part because Amanda is making more money than she is.
Like, I don't know if you see the
Way more.
chatter on social media. Them
Yeah,
two always taking shots at each other. Well, it's
yeah,
more Serrano. It's really more Serrano, like and indirectly antagonizing Clarissa because she makes comments about when she gets accolades on social media. She says that she doesn't have to talk about it, but we know who she's talking about. She's talking about Clarissa because
yeah.
Clarissa she's outspoken. So I just had to ask you this: would you be entertained if she came over to the other side and set up a fight with Serrano and Shields? I think we'd be doing the world a disservice if them two didn't face off.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
right.
somehow,
You right.
yeah, it would be
But
great
it's
for
just
them to
it
somehow
it, it
fight, man.
it's just that they would really have to come to of course a catch weight because
Yeah,
Serrano,
Mhm.
she she's small. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
so they would and is Carissa willing to do a catch weight because Carissa she's thick, man.
She's a big
She,
girl.
she,
Yeah,
she
she's a
she's a
big
girl.
big
girl.
she's a big girl. She ain't like one of those girls that's out of shape and she looks like
No,
that.
she's just
She
naturally
just
like that.
she
Yeah,
just genetic. She's a thick woman. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that that would be kind of a little rough. Her
yeah,
Hmm.
coming down. Even if they say they would meet at, let's say, at 60, that would be hard for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She probably would be completely deflated.
Drained. Yeah,
You know
she'll
what I
be
mean?
drained. Yeah,
She would
she'll be
be
drained.
completely deflated. So but I like I said, that's my opinion. I think she really want to be on the other side, uh, because them girls is making they making that money, man. And kudos to them, man. And kudos to Jake for and
making it happen.
MVP for making that happen for these women, man. Look at bringing out a 43-year-old Holly Holmes, bringing her back out, and you know what I
Mm.
mean.
I saw that.
You
Yep.
know, and she didn't look bad, for
Mm.
43. Maybe she needed that rest, that time. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Off, and she looked pretty good. She looked pretty good,
She
man.
did.
Yeah,
She did.
I think I'm sure somebody else has done it before, but I think Foreman kind of paved the way for being 40 and now and coming back in the fights. You got Pacquiao now at four. What's
Yeah.
Pacquiao 46? How was
Listen,
Pacquiao 46?
Bernard,
Right?
Bernard
46,
and
right?
start really started really. He was in his 40s when he really started making money. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
and
Yep.
he was beating these guys up
Oh, he's
at a
beating them
late
down.
age.
Yeah, he's
I'm
beating them
talking
down.
Mm-hmm.
about the Torres and Travis Cloud and all them whatever beating them guys up at his age.
Trinidad. Yeah.
And it
Mm-hmm.
all extend on his lifestyle. I lived with him for years. I'm the one that had to run and get up with him and run and train and cook and all this stuff. I seen it for my own eyes. He walked that walk. When I say he was in the bed by 9, 10, maybe he wasn't asleep. I used to be in camp with him. I knew he was
Mm-hmm.
going to bed at 9 or 10, and I would he in the bed. I would sneak my clothes on and go go out with Miami Beach and meet the fellas because I knew he was gonna be in the bed.
Right.
Because he lived. That's why he was able to fight to 51 years old, man, and still be competitive because he lived that lifestyle. You know what I mean? He walked that. He talked the talk and he walked the walk. I did. That's one thing I can say about that man. He definitely, man. He lived boxing. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys, it comes down to the lifestyle. You cannot. The ring will always tell on you. I don't
Mm.
care who you are. It's going to tell on you. It's going to start telling on you from 7, 8, 9 to 10, 12. It will start telling on you. You know what I mean? And you can, and what you call it, just made a statement. What was that, Earl Spence, about drinking and all that stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
He just
Yep.
said something online about that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that stuff, it tells on you in the later rounds. So it's always about the lifestyle, man. So if you're gonna do this, you gotta be clean. You gotta, you know what I mean. You gotta do what you've got to do
Mm.
because you can't cheat that ring.
There you go. That,
No,
that's
you can't.
that's wise words right there.
Yeah,
I think Spence's quote was, "Worst thing I did to myself was drinking. If an athlete focused on the end goal."
yeah,
So,
There you
but
go.
yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
But some of them guys, like I said, I mean, they drink all the way up, and then
Oh yeah.
I got to fight 8 weeks. Like you can't possibly focus on technique and strategizing on how you're gonna beat somebody when you got to just focus on losing the weight because most of them guys get 25, 30 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
You spending
Mm.
half of your time doing that instead of
Mm-hmm.
strategizing on a game
Right.
plan. And that's one thing, Brother Nazim, Allah rest his soul, he was a game planner, man. He will have us watching video and tape. Them guys don't do that, man. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Them guys is focusing on losing this weight because they done party, they done did all this stuff, they done got 30 pounds. A guy should not be no more than 10 to 15 pounds past his weight.
Mm.
Well, me and Sully send each other messages all the time now. You're seeing a lot of these guys struggling to make these weights. Do you think that bad preparation and thing? I mean, what do you think that's a tone of just lack of discipline? That's what I think it is.
Just
Lack of discipline.
it's lack of discipline and you knowing that okay, you knowing that you have a fight, in 2 months. Most of them guys wait to 6 weeks to start really preparing their body. You know, that's not nah, that's too short of a time. You know what I mean? Uh, you can have a drink here and there, but them guys, like I said, man, they be partying and eating all kinds of stuff, and it takes a while. You know what I mean? To get that stuff off of you, especially as you get older. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And when you're younger, yeah, that stuff will melt right off of you. But when you're getting older, it takes a little time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely that.
yeah.
So
How did you start in the game, man? I mean, how did
Well,
you start hand rapping?
Well, with me, I really Leon, the guy Leon Tabs, rest his soul. He's a legend, man. Leon Tabs. He was on the video games. He was UFC. Actually, I talked to Stitch because he was one of Stitch mentors. Uh, and I came under Leon, and Leon would show me he was getting dementia, and Leon was
Mhm.
showing me stuff, and I really wasn't realizing, I was just doing because you know what, I'm eager to learn, so I'm learning, and just he would tell me to put the ice bag on this eye. He would, tell me to do certain stuff in the corner. You know what I mean? Um, when I was in camp with Freddie, I would watch him wrap hands, and I would sit there and study, and I would wrap the guys' hands in camp, cut their circulation off, and I would wrap, my mom hands, my sister hands. I would wrap anybody hands that I can get a hold on to, and I just was just persistent, man. And I was training and doing cuts, and people really wasn't taking me seriously. It was like, we don't know if Danny a trainer or he doing cuts. What he doing? So somebody just told me like, yo, you gotta make up your mind what you want to do. So I just focus on just doing cuts and just master wrapping hands. And I learned from everybody, man. And I watch from good. If somebody's doing something good, if somebody's doing bad, I just watch everybody. And I just put a lot of stuff and just mix it into my arsenal. And I continue to practice, just wrapping hands, man, and just coming up with all kinds of ways to wrap hands. I do MMA raps. I do all kinds of raps, man. So uh, I never stop learning. I'm like a sponge, you know. And
Mhm.
I work with so many people, but I'm still that sponge, I'm still that student. So
Mhm.
you never stop learning, man, in this game. Because once you stop learning, you know what I mean. You really not,
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
you got
because
to.
time change, man, and sometimes you got to be willing to make a change. Just like everybody always talking about, man, we did this back in the day. Okay, yeah, that's back in the day, but this is now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You got to go with the
Mhm.
times, even though you don't want to, but you have to go with the times. You mix some of the old to what's going on right now,
Right.
and that's it. You know,
Yeah, that part. Some people just can't adjust to times. Like you said,
but
the ring was
you
the ring
have
was
to,
telling
man.
you.
You have to. Because they always bring, man, we did this back in the day. Yeah, I come from that era. I come from that cloth. But we talking about now. You gotta deal with people where they at. And you gotta deal with these young
Mhm.
fighters or where they at. Cause they don't know back in the
Mhm.
day shit. You gotta deal with them. You gotta deal with them where they at now.
Right,
You
right.
gotta you
Mhm.
gotta be stoop down to their level, you know?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Cause them young boys don't want to hear that back in the day shit. You
Nope.
see what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right. Yeah. You're right.
You gotta face them where they at. So that's
Yeah.
what I do. I face people where they at. And like I said, like I come from that cloth. I come from that era. I'm 57. I come from that era. But in order me to excel, continue to excel, I have to
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to
You
adapt
gotta evolve.
to what's
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on
You gotta
today.
evolve. You know?
I have
Yep.
to adapt to what's going on today. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If I like it or not, I have to. And that's why I say I take the old and I mix it with the new. So
That's it's fun. It's funny.
that's how I'm able to to evolve and wiggle my way in this boxing game.
It's funny. He brings that up. You seen this too. I was just talking to Lampley about this. He's talking about the way in his prime, and he has to adapt now to the social media and all this
That's
IG,
that's my
X,
that's my
X,
buddy, man.
all that. Yeah, we just had Jim Lampley on here, and we was talking about that. And he put out the Gaddy list, and I wrote him, and I said the one guy in your comments has a good point. He said Jim Lampley had social media back then when he was at the prime of his game. He'd have been more known than he is already. But
Yeah.
he's back in the game now. He's learning how to do all that. And like I said to him, I said, I wouldn't think of it as a bad thing that you didn't have it then. I would think of it now that you have stories and other things going on in addition now to social media. So you got a lot of stuff to add to that. So, so it's just adapting and learning. This is just the way the world is now. It's a social media world.
It's just like with y'all. You know what I mean? With the podcast, and it's today. This is how you make your money. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, it's about adapting, man, and wanting to change. And a lot of them old heads, they so stuck. It's just like
Yeah.
a guy come out of prison after doing 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, yo, bro, this ain't how I used to be.
That's dead.
You gotta get down with the program
Yeah.
now, because you lost. You already lost. You gotta
Yeah.
get down with the program. You know what I mean? It ain't what them young boys don't want to hear what's going on back in there. They don't know y'all. They don't know you was you was that man. You was that boy. They don't know you. The Graham, you know what I mean? They weren't even born.
Yep.
So they don't know us. And we talking about, yo, short, no, look, man, we did this, man. You got to do this back. We did this. They looking at us like, no, you got to talk about what's now and be on a level. You know what I mean? You got to actually be on a level, but you got the brains, right?
Right.
You got to, maneuver.
Work right.
You got to maneuver, man, with these young guys and with these young fighters, man, and just in this game, period. So I've been around a lot of legends in Philadelphia and actually worked with guys, a lot of legends. But this is now, so you gotta come with the new stuff, and you gotta be, like you said, you just mentioned a few minutes ago. You have to adapt. You have to adapt. Yeah. Cause I'm the new wave, Stitch. He texted me the other day, and for a guy, Stitch Durant, to text you and and give you advice, man. Like that made that kind of like I was kind of emotional, because he always texts me and he gives me advice, man, and he don't have to do it.
Nope.
I'm
It's
a
all
kid,
love.
a boy from North Philadelphia, man, and you got a guy named Stitch Durant who's a legend, who's a Hall of Famer, and text you and say, "Listen, you're doing a great job as a cut man." He also chastised me, but you also need to do this when you're in the corner. Utilize that 1 minute. I need you, you do this, and I need you to do X, Y, Z, right? And I take that in heart, man. I take that personal, because how many people?
So that he'll be back here in a second. But yeah, it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
getting help from people all over. It just helps, man, in all your craft. And I love to hear that he keeps learning. And he said that a lot of people get complacent. They get complacent.
Yeah.
They think they know everything, and to adapt and evolve and be better, you got to learn to take constructive criticism. That's the word. You got to be able to take constructive criticism. Yeah.
And as you said, he says he's willing to learn. He's still willing to learn, man. And that's like, you don't get too high, you know what I'm saying, on yourself and where you've been. And ever since I met Danny, just in passing, like, I don't know him personally, but just in passing, always been the same, humble. And, he's been, like he said, he's been around for a while, man. He used to rap for Bernard. You name it, throughout the years. You're talking about 30, he's probably been rapping probably about 30 years plus now. And just where he's been at up to right now, where he's with Jake Paul. And he's still humble. He's still on that level where approachable, talk to you about it, and just the same person. You know what I'm saying? So that speaks highly about him, because you get guys who in that position, not even close to the position where he is, and they think they high and mighty. You know what I'm saying? But Danny, I was just
Right.
talking to Blake about you, how you just, even with your success, even to where you've been, you remain humble. And like you were saying, you remain willing to listen and to learn from from the people who came from before you. And that's
But
big, man. That's
you know the
important.
old saying, what goes up must come down.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those guys forget. They start making money because they living on high and they treat people and they got a whole their attitude. And then when they come down, you still got to. This boxing community is small. First of
Yep.
all,
Hmm.
so you could be all high and this and that, but when you come down, you still got to meet us. We still here.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And the same people that you stunted on and that you that you know what I mean that uh that you was acting all, oh man, you still, I'm still here. Now you
Hmm.
asking me to work for you, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so but Mr. Bowie Fisher always told me, he's like, Dan, I listen always, and I learned this from Bowie when he was with when he was training Bernard, and I
Hmm.
was fortunate enough that I was under his tutelages. So, Mr. Bowie always told me, man, like, stay humble, stay respectful, man, and do your work. Uh, you know what I mean? Do your job. Uh, when you in that, I learned this from Leon. When you in that corner, you there, but you're not there. You know what I mean? Like you're not talking to the fighter. You there. Your focus is that face. And that's it. And that's how I work. You know, and and continue to what I mean, to work like that. So I'm just blessed, man, that I was able to be around a lot of legends, man. Especially in Philadelphia, man. You know, to come along and actually work side by side with some of them, with the Willie folks and the Bowie Fishers and the brother Nazims. I work, with a lot of guys that side by side, you know. So I'm very fortunate and blessed about that. Yeah.
That's a lot of history behind you. Got a lot of history behind you, brother. A
Yeah.
lot of history.
Yup.
Great trainers,
And and
great
and
people,
and
great
then
men.
and being and I remember I used to talk to Emmanuel Stewart, and he only had 7 pro fights and became a Hall of Famer. And I was telling him I only had 6 pro fights, and at
Hmm.
that time, in that era, like at that time, man, I was on the streets, man, I'm hustling and I
Hmm.
just, I was a good amateur and I had a good amateur career. But when I
Hmm.
turned pro, man, I just, you start having kids. I was like, man, I just felt into the streets, man. I just the money came, making money came. I wasn't training like that, and I didn't want to get hurt, and I wanted to still have my marbles at the end of the day, and still be able to speak well. So I just stopped boxing, and my mother was the one that told me, and I left boxing alone for a couple of years. But my mom was like, why don't you go back to the gym? And won't won't you just help the kids and won't you do certain stuff? Because my pop was
Hmm.
in prison and and stuff like that. So it was my mother that really told me, actually, like, go back to the gym. So I started hanging in the gym, and the old guys was like, can you do the pads? And my first person I started doing pads with was Ivan Robinson, Mike Stewart,
Wow.
and then I got a job with Jackie Frazier. Her husband
Wow.
called me up. She was fighting Leigh Ali, so I was her pad man. I did pads with Ann Wolf. At the time, she had came down, was working with Jackie
Hmm.
at when Joe Frazier's was still open. So man, that's how I started off doing pads, man. I was a pad man, and that's why I said it's levels, man. And people don't want to go through the challenges, the chambers, man. And the spot, they just want to jump right to that spot.
Yep.
But
Nah.
I went through a lot to really get to where I'm at. You know what I mean? Uh, I went through a lot of channels to get to where I'm at. I was
Mm.
I was a pad man. Then I started, training people. And now I just focus on just doing raps and cuts, and that's it, man. And
Did you?
it's just
You
it's still rough, man. This a rough business.
Yes, it is.
well,
It's a
let,
rough
let me
it's a,
tell
it's
you,
a rough business,
you
man.
you are good at what you do because every fighter that I come in contact with who use you as a rapper, they
Mhm.
all say the same thing. They say that brother knows how to rap. And
Yeah.
they and I remember this just a couple weeks ago. You rapped whose hand did you rap?
On the
Man.
Danny Garcia show card.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I rap Mickey Bay, and I rap the kid
Mickey,
that's that's 18 years old. Actually, his father
yes.
just called me. He was like, "Man, we want to use you again. You on the team. I'm gonna make sure I call Danny to make sure that we got you. So it's a humbling feeling, man. When because one thing we have is our name. Like I never let money define me as a person, and
Mm,
I always, your name is which is that's what we have, is our name, and our name is credibility. So I take very much pride of what I do. You know what I mean? Because your name is on the line. You know what I mean? When you do
mm,
these interviews, when y'all do these interviews, it's your name is on
Yep.
the line. It ain't how much money you getting from the viewers. It's your name.
Mhm.
So,
mhm,
uh,
Facts.
I take pride in what I do, man, and like I said, I'm always coming up and I'm always practicing, and that's another thing. I don't stop
mm.
practicing. I go to the gyms and just rap little kids' hands. Let me wrap your hands, and they
Wow.
be, Mr. Dan rapping my
Yeah.
hands. Come on, let me wrap your hands. I will rap just
Mm,
anybody. I still do that to the day. I still do
mm.
that, bro. Yeah. I still do that, man. Cause
That
I
that's
love
big.
I love what I do, man. I really do, man.
What's
I cannot express enough that how much I love doing what I do.
what's the
Yep.
old phrase? Is it really work if you love what you're doing? Is it really work?
It's
So
yeah, it's not, man. Cause when it's
Mm,
when you love what you're doing, man, it's not really work. It's just
mhm,
it's just that you're getting that. It's an adrenaline rush with me. Like I don't look at no cameras. I don't worry about no cameras. Half the time I don't even know the camera's on me. If you ever watch me in that corner, you see how focused I am. I forget all
mhm,
about the camera, because that's not my uh, attention. My
mm,
attention is to focus on that face, keeping the swelling down, you know, everything. You know what I mean? So
mm.
and I just take, like I said, man, I take pride in what I do because my name is on the line.
do you remember any moment where you were just like an all moment for you in your many years of being around legends? Do you remember you're like, damn, I'm in here with this, or I'm
You know, you
training with
know,
such and such.
my moment was when Bernard became the oldest fighter to win a title when he fought
Mm,
Pascal,
Mhm.
and that was like one of my defining moments, man. Like damn, like you're a part of that. You know what I mean. You help, with the process. That was like one of mine. Yeah.
that's good, man. That's
And
good to hear, man.
I wrapped his hands, because Nazem was wrapping his hands at first, but
Mm,
I was just getting better and better. So like like the last few years he started having me rap. You know what I mean? And I thought I was good then, but now I'm way better than I was
Yeah.
back then. Because
mhm,
I look at other cut men and I look at how they rap, and I just you could call the ace of spade. I'm still in game from everybody, and I ain't
mm.
ashamed to say it.
Yeah.
I'm still in game from you and you, and listen. It is what it is. Because guess what?
It
If
is
you
what it
don't,
is.
that's
Eh,
what makes me better. And I tell
Hey.
people when they watching me, I don't care if you videotape. You know,
Mhm.
I was rapping Jake Hands, and Julio, one of his guys, came over to watch me rap, and he's talking in Spanish. I don't know what he's saying. I'm thinking so I'm asking the inspector like, "What's going on? Like, why?" He was like, he was just telling me. He said he rap. He's like he rap really good. That's
Mm.
what he was telling the inspector. Can I say what he's saying? What he talking about? He was like, oh, he said that you rap. You really good. And I was like, gave him the
Mhm.
thumbs up.
That's pretty dope.
Listen, I it's funny because when you was rapping Joseph Brown Hands in Atlantic City, what was that last year?
Yeah,
So I was that was the first time I got to watch you,
yeah,
and I seen and every time I see I see you rap, even if it's live or if it's on television, I see how you have the little strips set up,
yeah,
and then you put them between the
yeah,
knuckles, and you wrap them under and tuck it up under the palm. I said there's really a strategy that he uses,
yeah.
man, and it
Everybody,
was just amazing.
everybody be messed up how I do that twist. And I remember Bread Man, he was like, cause I taught him how to rap. I taught Dave Price. I taught a lot of guys how to rap. And they would tell you, you know what I mean? Uh, but I said, I'm the professor.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? I don't care how good you are, but I'm the professor. And and I ain't making it no race thing, but to be an Afro American, because a lot of that, the cut man and rapping hands, a lot of the Mexicans and the Puerto, they got that down. You know what I mean? But
Hmm. Hmm.
for to come from a guy, an Afro American guy, and like I said, that rap like that and that do cuts the way he do it, it's a big it's an honor, man, and I take pride of that. You know what I mean? Because it's not too many of us. You know,
Yeah, there you go.
that's doing
That's it.
cuts and rapping hands. That was their thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So so I like I said, man, I take pride, man. The name is definitely, it means more than money is my name.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
facts. Do you remember at any time where it was a big cut, and how you had to try to
Uh,
get down to swelling, or you'd be like, "Damn, that's a big ass cut in your head." You'd be like, you
uh,
remember a
so,
moment?
so by me being a fighter myself, and by me being in so many, championship fights. I remember when Gabe got split real bad. Uh, it's just about being calm, and because if you're not calm, the fighter is not calm. So,
Right,
uh,
Mm.
and it's different lights. You got disco lights, you got ballroom lights, you got the lights, and then you got the lights.
right.
What lights can you
Mhm.
perform under? Because sometimes people can't get past some disco lights. You know what I mean? And I have been in corners with guys. I had to hold their hand, like yo, I'm talking about guys that's been in the game. So
Mm.
by me fighting and being a fighter myself, and just working with different people, uh, I'm pretty calm in the corner, and don't really nothing phase me. I tell the inspector, like, let me do my job. They come back, the doctors is all in it. I tell them,
Yeah,
Mm.
because you have to be in control in that corner, because if the doctors and the commission and the inspectors don't see that you are in control, they're gonna stop the fight. And I'm very
Mm.
much, I'm in charge in that corner when it comes to cuts, and I let them know, listen, I have this, I got this. Let me do my work. Okay, Danny, we're gonna
Mm.
let you work. You know what I mean? So they
Mm.
have to let you. Because I seen a lot of guys that they stopped the fight because they was cut. They didn't give these guys a chance. You
right.
know what I mean?
Mm.
Because you have to be aggressive, and I'm aggressive in the corner. I'm not scared to to be aggressive. You know what I mean? And you have to be like
Mm-hmm.
that when you're a cut man. And a lot of you see a lot of cut men, they all pacified. They, you know what I mean? They pacify their feet. No, you got to be aggressive. Grab their head
Mm.
and be aggressive. You know, you know what I mean. So, yeah, I'm pretty much cool in that corner, man. You know what I mean. I don't care if you come back with 2 gashes. I'm give me a chance to work. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stay prepared. I don't walk nobody out. I'm in that corner before anybody because I'm preparing myself. I'm not preparing to get ready. I'm already ready. So if a guy get cut, I got my swabs dipped in adrenaline already. I'm prepared. You understand? Because a lot of guys wait till stuff to happen to do. No, you gotta
Mm.
you gotta be prepared before any. Just in case. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always prepared, man. And Leon Tabs told me that, you know, you get to the corner before the fighters. You don't have to walk nobody out. You want to be
Mm.
prepared. You know what I mean? And I work with, like
Mm.
I said, a lot of the A guys. I work with a lot of B guys. So it's just about being prepared, man, when you're in that corner, man, and just be aggressive because expectors to know if you're a newcomer or you
Mm.
ain't, if a person get cut, you all baffled and dropping the swabs and you don't know what to do. They see that. They in the upper corner see that. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Uh, who do you got? I know we talked about a lot of fighters and stuff and people being up in age. Do you think Manny Pacquiao has a chance of being Barrios?
Well, I think they picked the weakest link.
Mm.
That's the machine we call. That's the machine Sully likes to call the machine.
And I
Yeah, the
think
machine.
Barrios has always been the weakest link in that weight class. Uh, it's we see what Manny has. And I mean, my opinion, I think he wins the fight. On a decision.
Decision.
Uh, but Barrios he's gonna come to fight. But I think it's a fight that is definitely winnable for Manny.
Mm.
I think
It's a
so too.
good pick. It's a good pick 'em fight for him. He's coming back, and like I said, and somebody mentioned about the cruiserweight. I think, Bottle Jack is the weakest link of the cruiserweight.
Mm.
He's 38,
Mm.
39. Uh, you look at his last performance. I thought he lost. I don't know about y'all, but that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he. I think he got a gift. Being in
Mm-hmm.
Saudi, I think he got a gift. I think that guy outworked him uh, and should have earned that decision. But we not the judge. So
Right.
uh, in the cruiserweight, yeah, I think Baju is the weakest link. In this welterweight division, I think Barrios is the weakest link. So
Mm.
it's a perfect fight for Manny to come back and win the title, and we'll see from there.
That place is going to erupt if Manny Pacquiao gets a stoppage or a knockout and he wins. It's
Yeah.
gonna erupt in that place. Of course, the big one, Canelo Crawford.
Uh,
What do you think?
I'm not. I'm not. Listen, I'm going with Crawford. You can't beat me in the head with this size difference and all that. Crawford Walker Crawford been walking around 190 something pounds. He was too
Yeah,
big for 135, 140, straining down for that. So Crawford been big. He's been that weight. He's been a 160-pound fighter, 68-pound fighter. So they can't beat me in the head with this weight size. He's
yeah, that's a
strong.
good point.
He's from Nebraska. He
Yeah,
got that different. He got that different strength, and he got that different mentality.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I like Crawford in this fight, and I really like him to beat him up. I like
Okay.
him to beat him up.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
because
what
what
did
you
Yep.
call
Anthony?
it?
Yep.
What you call it is not. He's not aggressing. He's to me. He's degressing, man. He's not showing me the last three years fights. He ain't showing me he all this killer. Cause why he ain't get Belanga out of there? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So He not showing he this killer. This last guy he fought, why he ain't get him out there? He
Oh,
struggled with
Skull.
this guy. He
Yeah.
struggled with this
Mm,
guy.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
yeah.
so nobody and I just like once again, I'm not giving you what I want y'all to hear. I'm giving you my opinion and
Yep.
facts. Like
Yeah.
what is he gonna show Crawford that Crawford haven't seen? You know, you can't come with this I'm this big, I'm this
Well,
stronger fighter,
right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, this boy is he's strong. He was an ex wrestler. You know, and he
Mm-hmm.
come from the gutter, man. His
Yeah.
mentality is different. His mentality is different. I love Boots. Boots is from my city, but Boots would have caught hell with him. He would have caught hell. He
Mm-hmm.
would have caught
We
hell with
all
him.
wanted to see that one.
Crawford is a different type of individual. He's a
Um,
different type of individual, bro. I don't know. I ain't asking y'all to agree with me,
oh no,
but
you good.
he just
No.
he's just his
I,
man.
yeah.
It's like, you know, his mentality is just different. Just like Bernard, like, and I bring Bernard up all the time because he's such a good example. Bernard didn't have
Mm-hmm.
no masculine body or nothing like
Nope.
that, but his mentality was different, bro. He broke you down at the weigh-in. He broke you down
Mm-hmm.
at the press conference. His mentality, man, is different. Coming from the projects, you understand? Coming from
Mm-hmm.
what's the next meal? How you know what I mean? Going to come from.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
different type of mentality coming from Nebraska, bro. If you ever been in Nebraska, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
No doubt. I had Crawford winning
Right
You
anyway.
understand what
there.
I'm saying?
I think Sully did too.
I
I
don't
think we
know.
both had
I
Crawford.
don't know where Canelo come from, but I guarantee you ain't as tough as, and the poverty ain't like Nebraska.
Nebraska property. Yeah. We both have Crawford winning that fight too. We
I
You
both
think
see what
we
I'm
both
saying?
said the same exact
I
thing.
think Lampley
That's
going Crawford
that's
too.
I'm leaving all
Mhm.
that other stuff out the window. I'm talking about the poverty part, man. I'm talking about where he come from. All that shit gonna
Mhm.
resonate in that back in that ring, man. That's why he
Mhm.
beat Spence the way he beat him. Cause
Right.
That Nebraska mentality comes out.
Mhm.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yo, I know. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I
When
know
when you
exactly what
put
you're
in that
talking about.
position, and yeah, you when you're thrust in that position, and it comes out of you naturally. And like you said, some people just
Yeah.
don't have it. Some
Yeah.
The
people
ring,
just don't have that,
Yeah.
man.
what did
Yeah.
Danny say earlier? The ring will tell him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and let's talk about this new one that just popped up. I was surprised, honestly. Me and Sully knew we were waiting for that fight against Sasaki, and we knew something big would happen. I didn't think Norman Jr. would be fighting Haney. I don't think neither one of us picked that. What do you think about that
Mm.
fight?
Uh
Haney's last, let's say, Haney's last performances weren't too good, and then Norman, of course, with that brutal knockout, and then
I
a good win at
you
this last fight.
you might you I don't know, you might be shocked about this one.
Uh-oh. I'm put you single box for this. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that to me.
He was getting, yeah, he was getting real gritty. He was about to
Hey,
turn it on,
hey,
man.
you know it was when they say when they look up when they 47. Uh-oh, it's about to be a good one.
Yeah.
He said, but wait, there's more. Oh, here he is. Hold on, he's back.
My
All right, you got
opinion, my opinion,
Oh man, hold on,
my
hold on. Let's make
listen,
this happen.
yeah.
my opinion, I'm just speaking my opinion. Haney wins on a
Whoa.
decision. Listen, he gonna box the shit out of him. You know what I mean? Because the reason why I'm saying is because what you call it is he's flat footed fighter. And
Mhm.
if Bill and them do their homework, they'll come out victoriously because I think Haney will definitely he gonna box him. He gonna box the mess out of him. He's just his footwork, his just his hand speed, will he'll be victoriously.
Let me tell you something. I can't disagree with you on that one. Just this morning, I was thinking to myself about that fight, and I said, if Haney comes out looking like the Haney that we knew before Garcia, he has a
Pre-Garcia.
good chance to outbox him. He has
Yeah,
a great
I think
he has
that
a great
because of that
chance to beat him.
that he just had to get over that last fight after taking a beating, and he just coming back. Yeah, he ran a lot. He moved a lot. He was very just too cautious. But this fight right here, we will see the old Haney feeling good, boxing uh, what I mean, and being victoriously at the end.
So Haney and
Should be a
decision. Okay.
great fight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, should be a great fight.
yeah,
Like I said, we talked about it when it was freshly out. And like I'll say it just like everybody else say it. The human brain goes on to what was last. And your last two fights of Haney weren't good. And then your fights with Norman were good. So consensus of people are gonna go with Norman, of course. But like you guys said, if Haney comes back to greatness pre-Garcia, I think we got a fight on our hands. And I think the viewers will be entertained because we know Turkey Al-Ashish does not want any Tom and Jerry stuff. He wants
nah.
people to fight.
Because it's his name, man. He want to put on good fights, man, exciting fights. So, I like Haney in that one. Yeah, I like Haney in that one.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see how these camps go out, see how everybody prepares for this fight. I'm looking forward to it. We were looking forward to it. Like I said, Sooly was waiting for that Norman fights with Sasaki, and now we got it. So it's going to be interesting coming down to the wire.
Absolutely.
Should be.
I gotta ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Fulton and Foster.
What you got,
Scooter. Give me Scooter. I got Scooter. Who you got, Danny? Who you got, man?
I'm going with Scooter, man. He always some way somehow, man, get it done.
Yeah, he steps
Some
up.
way somehow he gets it done. And this will be, and he will make history. Belts in three
Yeah,
different weight
different
classes,
weight
man.
class. Yeah.
So
Oh, big Fulton fan.
I like that fight for him. A lot of people, you know, don't. Said, man, he's too big. But Scooter always is the same way, man. I'll tell you where you come from, the grind, this
That
all
it
that
factor.
resonate back in that ring, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. All
Definitely.
that, yeah, and Scooter just always he just managed to get it done, man. And I know he will get it done again. Not saying because
Yeah,
he's
he's
from Philly,
sharp.
'cause I don't I just speak facts, but but
No.
he will get it done, man. He will get it done
I,
some way somehow.
yeah, I don't think Foster has ever fought anyone with that skill level as Scooter. But I
Yeah,
think Scooter will I think Scooter just has a little bit too much, man. He
and a
just
lot of
have a
people don't know
little bit too much.
Scooter is stronger than what he looks. He another one
Yeah.
is not all muscle bound,
Hmm.
not like, but his skill set, his IQ is the different. It's different because his IQ is crazy. He have a good ring IQ. So that's why a lot of them fights that you think, oh man, he pulls it out because of his IQ.
Hmm.
That definitely. I think that was when we had this conversation. I think it was you and your son, Suli, when we talked about Crawford and Spence, and that's the first thing I said. I said, man, I can't knock experience, man. You can't knock experience. And sure enough, you saw what happened in that fight.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What did you think about the the Schofield and Tevin Farmer fight.
Now that one, I must confess, I thought the young bull was going to get schooled.
You did?
I, 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 I was wrong on that one. I thought Tevin, even though coming off them two them two hard fights with Zapata, but I thought, Tevin was active. You know what I
Right.
mean? He didn't have to get ready. He was already ready. Uh, just his ring experience, but them two fights showed up. Them two fights showed up, man. Uh,
Yeah.
the age showed up.
Mm,
So
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was shocked, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was shocked, man, because like I said, man, I thought Tevin were kind of drowning later.
Mm,
I thought the young bull would had to be very patient because he wasn't going to be able to hit Tevin
right.
cleanly like that. But I was fooled.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I
I
think
was
Them
I
them
think
fooled.
last two Tevin. Yeah, them last two Tevin fights, there was wars, man. He
yeah.
got
Yeah,
hit a lot in those last two fights.
there was war.
And
That's
for him to just to get back in the ring so
I'm 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 a
quickly.
I'm gonna mention something else, man. Like when you have them tough fights like that, just like that Zerto when he fought Bevo,
Yeah.
that was like two fights taken out of him, and Zerto haven't been the same. You can look at him; he haven't been the same
Mm-hmm.
since. Yeah, he might have won his last two fights, but he haven't been the same.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because of them, that was a two fight. That was a beating, and that was like two fights in one. And
Mm-hmm.
the same thing, even though Tevin didn't take a beating, but there was two hard fights
Two
back to
hard
back,
fights
just you know,
back to back.
back to
Yeah.
back.
Back.
So, but I still didn't. I didn't expect that. I don't know about y'all. I really
No.
didn't expect
No.
No.
57 seconds, bro. I,
No.
you know, that was a shocker of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It just has
Agree.
so,
Agree with you.
it was like it just had so much hype leading up to it, and then
Yeah,
just 57 seconds. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
yeah,
That's just like, wow.
and
But
but that's
that's
boxing for you.
that's the game.
Yeah.
That's the
That's why they make the
game.
fight. Yep.
That's Yeah, that's boxing for you, bro.
Yes,
I
sir.
can't.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I was reading Farmer's response on social media. I can't remember off the top of my head what he said because he started talking about it. But of course, he gave a lot of praise to Schofield in that fight. And,
Yeah.
Schofield got all emotional at the end. So whatever.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional moment for the young man because uh of course social media, the public would tear you down, man. After he's
Mhm.
supposed to support Shakur, but I always say, man, everything is in God's plans, always. So it was just it wasn't in his plans, man, to fight him at that time. So
Mhm.
it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? And but
Mhm.
he definitely pulled the rabbit out the hat, man, because
Yeah.
I don't think nobody expected that, man.
No,
I'm serious.
no.
No.
I ain't gonna sit up here in
Mm-mm.
front.
Maybe
Absolutely
maybe
not.
maybe people expected him to win, but
Yeah,
Win,
no
yeah, but not
nobody
yeah.
like that.
nobody expected that domination uh that early. Nah,
Mm-mm.
nah. And I definitely didn't. Yeah.
Nah, nah.
He didn't
Yeah.
even have.
Well, I mean, that division is stacked right now. I
Yeah,
mean, that just changes the whole
I
division.
mean,
So
he would do he still have a lot of uh developing and maturing to do, but
yeah.
he's young, man. He's young, just like Jake. He's young, bro. He
yeah.
he just 23 years old. 24, that
Yeah.
was 23, 24. He's
Yeah, he's
young.
young boy. Yep.
You know, just like Jake, he just turned 28. Them boys is young.
He still
My
got time.
my kids is older than them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They young, they strong. You know what I mean? It's like, and when you young and strong at that age, because we met all three of us been there. You think you
Uh-huh.
invincible? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Uh-huh.
So we all felt that feeling before
Yep.
in our life.
Yeah.
You know, right
Yeah.
now, right now we had to shoot you in the pinky toe. Shit.
You're right. You're right.
But at that age, we felt like that.
Feel
We
like,
all three of
yeah,
us, we all felt that way at one point.
You're
You
right.
know,
invincible.
you
Yep,
know, invincible.
invincible.
So kudos to him, man.
I do.
I was happy for him.
I know we've been here a while. I wanted to ask you one more thing before you get out here, because I know about post fight. What's the guy's name? Still it's slipping my mind. The one when they had the post fight was at Davis and Namir. That post fight stuff after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You talking about Keyshawn
Yeah.
Davis.
Keyshawn.
That
What you
whole
think about
I,
all that
yeah,
nonsense that happened?
I worked with Keyshawn before.
that
yeah,
whole that whole disco that whole thing that
Keyshawn.
went on
Whatever you
down
want to
there.
call that.
That listen, immaturity, man. You
Yeah.
know, immaturity. He got a lot of growing up, and that's his brother. You know what I mean? It was emotional, uh, feeling. It was. He was embarrassed uh, for not making that weight. It was just, he in his hometown. He got all these Iverson, Michael Vick, all these guys coming out like you put Norfolk back on the map and you
Mm,
embarrass Norfolk. You
And all in
understand?
one
mm,
all in one move.
All in one move.
Yep.
So it was the embarrassment. It
Yeah.
was just, the emotional feelings and this and my and then on top of it, my brother got his ass whooped that night. Uh, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Uh, so just the immaturity part on his behalf, and I'm quite
mm,
sure uh, he's thinking about it. What
mm,
he did
I would hope.
because Mr. Bob might teach him a lesson and sit his ass down for a little bit, because
Hmm.
sometimes
mhm.
you might need that. Uh,
Yeah.
and Bob is a businessman,
Yeah.
and he cost him a
Mhm.
lot of money
Yep.
that night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they might pacify his butt, sit his ass a little bit, and show like, listen, you ain't bigger than this. You ain't bigger than top rank, bro. Like, listen, you know. So
Mhm.
uh, we they might put him on the shelf for a minute, and don't be surprised.
Mm,
You think he
Don't
mhm.
be
bounces back? You think he bounces back after all that?
he bounced back.
Yeah.
You fight in your weight class, bro. Fight. You're a 140 pounder. You were squeezing your way down to 35. That's why you were so much stronger beating these guys up. You know what I mean? And like you knew coming in, your team knew
Mhm.
coming in that you couldn't make that weight, but I guess they had to go along with the program. But listen, man.
Mhm.
Right now, the fans got a bad taste in their mouth.
Yep.
You got a lot of making up to do, young man. And this is when you need a good team and support around you, to bring you back down to earth and say, yo, bro, listen, we got to do better than this. We got to do better than this, man.
Absolutely.
Mm,
So if they're going to take your trainer, your advisor, your manager, somebody needs to sit his ass down and bring him back down to reality. Because, sometimes we can get a little beyond ourselves, right? And
mhm.
sometimes we do need that talking to and say, look, bro, nah, man, this ain't the way to go. We got to get back to business. You call yourself
Yeah.
a businessman, that was not business at all.
No, not
Mhm.
even close.
No,
Yeah.
he
And
em-
We all
he
been
em-
there.
he em- he embarrassed. He really embarrassed the city like that. Where
Yeah.
you could have been bringing Norfolk back on the map. He
Yeah.
embarrassed that city. You had people come from all over, right? And he brought all the celebrities out. and this is how you reward somebody by throwing popcorn in your mouth. Come on, bro. Nah, we gotta do better than that. And then you go in this
Mm,
man locker room, potentially, well, I don't know, a lawsuit on top
Yep.
of that.
mm.
Mhm.
Come on, come on, man.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah,
You can't do that. Yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully, this is a learning experience for him. You
yep.
know,
Every, yeah.
some of us have to learn the hard way.
Some
You know, so
it's gonna be the easy way all the hard.
Oh, wait.
How the boy gonna say? How the
The
boy
choice is
Flint
yours.
Flint say? It's gonna be the easy way or the
Wait.
hard way.
mhm.
The choice is yours. Mhm.
Yep.
George is yours, man. Hey, I got one last question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
And you talked about this earlier. You talked about Jake's training camp, and
Mm.
you mentioned he had Muxin down there, the Muslim
Yeah.
fighter.
Yeah.
How was that? How was those spars down there?
I called Moose and actually he was like, man, he told me, he said, the boy, he's like, man, he's strong, man. He's strong, and he's like, he's really like, you know what I mean? He really got better, you know, and
Mm,
you know what I mean? Because he went through a thing with, I guess with his brother, right, right, with Hassim's son. So for him to go
hmm.
down there to help him out, man, it was like, it was like that was a good thing, man.
They got good work in, huh?
He got good. He said it was good work, man.
That's
Wilson
good.
told me it was good work, man. It was just he like yo, he 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 on his game, you know. And Gabe told me that too, because Gabe was in camp with him too. He was like,
Hmm.
and he listened to Gabe because Gabe got have a lot of knowledge, man. Well, as we all know, and
Right.
'cause Gabe one of them guys, because he come from under Bernard. Like Bernard would be boxing you and be talking to you and giving you game at the same time. So
Hmm.
you know what I mean. So that's how Gabe was. When he was boxing them after the sparring match, he would they be in there having a lecture for like an hour or so in the ring, telling
Hmm.
him, you know what I mean, the do's
Hmm.
and the don'ts and what so yeah, bro, Musa really, he was a big part of this win.
I tell everybody I've been to a different gyms around the country, and I tell everybody the Philly gyms and the Philly fighters are just different from everyone else. And Jake having you a bunch of Philly guys with him, helping them, training them, that tells you
Yeah,
right there, man, he's serious. That tells you right there, he's
yeah.
serious, and
Listen,
that tells you right there he's gonna get better.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And
he
that,
got
and I'm not, and
he
I'm from
got he
Philly.
got
I
he
ain't
got
being
he got
biased, but go
he
ahead.
got the Detroit he got the Detroit connection, them guys like Jadion and Third, they come under
Mhm.
Emmanuel Stewart. So
Right, that Crump Gym
that
too
the
out there.
crump that alone, man, is like, like damn. So for him to say, listen, he told Jay, listen, I need you to build something. I need you to build another team, man. And Jadion got the best guys that was educated. Third, Theo Chambers. He got one of the best conditioning guys, Larry Wade, man, who works with
Mhm.
a lot of guys, man. Larry's be doing his thing, you know,
Mhm.
and just like you said, and then you get a North Philly guy, Danny get a guy from Philadelphia, and we just brought that mesh in, man. Just brought the team together, man, and everybody's doing their part. Ain't
Mhm.
nobody, we all praise each other. Nobody's jealous of one another, man. And we all sincere about what we do. And that's what makes Jake's better. That's what making him better. You know what I mean? I never worked with a bunch of decent men, man, that are sincere. Because you got a lot of guys that work with each other, but they busy stabbing each other in the back.
Yep.
You
Mhm.
Yep.
know,
Mhm.
and a lot of teams
That
is like that. A lot of teams is
That
like
part.
that, bro. I work with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I work for myself, and I work with so many different teams, and I see it. Like, damn, I thought
Mm-hmm.
this was his man, but he bound it. He's stabbing him in the back. But
That part.
this
Mm-hmm.
team that's around Jake Paul, I love this team, man. I love these guys. I love Jadion. I love Third. I love Larry. And there's a bunch of guys that are sincere about getting him better. You know, it ain't about nobody ego over here. You understand? It's about one person, and that's Jake.
That's what's up. That's a lot of love right there. And so hopefully we can get Jake on here one day. Throw us a good word in for us. Love to chat
Okay.
to him. Yeah, what a
Yeah.
good word.
They
Um,
gonna see this interview. I tell
yep.
you that.
There you go. There you go.
They gonna see
um,
this interview.
man, we could
Cause
talk all day, Danny. I love
yeah,
talking, man.
I appreciate y'all, man, and I'm honored, man, and thank you, for having me on, man, for just busting it up, man, and y'all keep
Yeah,
doing
man.
y'all thing, man. Y'all growing, you know what I mean? Keep doing your thing, man. Remember, your name
Appreciate
means more than anything.
Appreciate
You know
that.
what I mean? So I
we appreciate
appreciate
that.
y'all once again. For the viewers, you can reach me.
Oh, Danny, we gotta get you off the AOL.
We'll get him.
Hold on.
We'll get him back
There
on.
he
There you
is.
go. There you go.
Is he back?
Hello?
Is he, yeah. There you go. Go ahead. Go
Hold
ahead.
on.
So
Oh man, it's good having him, man.
we gotta get him some of that Wi-Fi, man.
He in the basement. Got to get him out that bed. He in the
Yeah,
boom boom room.
he in the lab, man.
I said, you can get me on my Instagram is Danny 5701. That's my gram, man, and you can get me on there, and I appreciate y'all guys.
Hire him.
Yeah. Hey, if you're a fighter and you're looking for the
Hire
best
him.
cut man, best hand rapper in the business, that's the man to call right there.
I
That's the
appreciate
man to
y'all
get in
guys, man.
contact with.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Any final
Thank
things
you,
too before we
brother.
get out here?
All right,
Uh,
man. The
all right.
the journey, just love hearing the stories, man. Just another person, you know what I'm saying? Humble, another person that we can learn from. I mean, I'm just happy to have you here, Danny. Thank you. Thank you for
Absolutely.
coming through, brother.
All right. Thank y'all.
And we'll wrap it up as we always do. Danny ran out of there. Probably the old lady was trying getting on him. Get off that damn phone. But we'll wrap this up and end this as we always do. It ain't as hard as you can hit. It's as hard as you can get hit. I'm Blake Anthony. This is Sooly. We'll see you guys next time on another edition of Philly Fight World. James Tone, take us home.
Yo, this is James Lights Out Tony, the one and only. You are tuning into Philly Fight World. You see me? Bam!